Welcome to another Team Mental Fitness. My name is Jonathan Oyekanmi, and I'll be taking us on the theme Building Stronger Connections in the Workplace. Building stronger connections in the workplace. So first off, I'll start with what does workplace connection, why does it really matter, and what does it mean? And there have been a lot of studies that has been done, and it has consistently shown that emotional connection within the workplace impacts productivity, retention, and the morale of the people that work. So a connected team is not just happier, they perform better and stay longer. When a team is connected, when they feel connected to each other, it makes work easy. Beyond just the happiness that they share as a team, they perform better and they stay longer together. So what we mean by connection? So when we say connection, we are not just talking about knowing people's name. I know a number of times when we talk about connections, just like on LinkedIn, when you have connections with people, all you do is just the follow, and then they start talking about your connections. But in the real essence of connection, it goes beyond just knowing each other's names. It goes deep into, feeling seen, feel heard, and being supported. So one of the most practical things we could do around this is to ask ourselves as individuals, as a member of Adbond Harvest and Homes, and as a member of the team at large. But that will wait till the end of this training, because we need to ask, do we feel seen? Do we feel heard? Do we feel like we are connected to what we do around here? So it means feeling seen, heard, and supported. It's about building a sense of belonging at work, and which is what I just listed here. You have genuine interest in one another. That's actually what connection means. If I say I'm connected to Mr. Felix there, that means I had his genuine interest at art. And then communication goes beyond task. So some of us, the kind of connections we have has to do with the responsibility that comes around being here, day-to-day tasks. But when we say we are communicating at the right level, it goes beyond tasks. It's just beyond the work. It goes beyond that. And what does this connection, what does it look like? So when connection is missing, we start to see silence, mistrust, and withdrawal. Because many times when it looks like the connection is lost, that is when you have meetings, there are a lot of long silence. People will tell you they have nothing to say. There are clicks and exclusions. Then, the staffs are emotionally disengaged. They are really not connected to what they are doing. Though they are physically present, but emotionally they are not down into what they are doing. There's silence in meetings. So that's what disconnection, that's what it looks like. And there we have the pillars of strong connection. To build connection at any level, within the workplace, anywhere, even within family, the first thing is trust. We should be able to trust each other. That means I should be able to own to my mistake. If I say I will turn something over at a particular time, I should be able to pull through. Because when we can build that trust back and forth with each other, then we can start talking about connection. The moment I renege on my own promises, I say I'll do this, I don't do it, I can't own up to mistakes. When mistakes come up, I'm looking for the next man to push it on to, oh, it's not me, it's them, it's not me. It's obviously there is not going to be any form of connection at that level. Then empathy. So coincidentally, the last training I was supposed to take, which I couldn't because I had a lot to do then, was also empathy, which Odogu took, and we talked about empathy. Empathy is also not talking about perfection. Empathy is me putting myself in the other person's shoe. And it goes a long way. When we are working and I can literally see myself in the other person, then I'm trying to understand what they go through. I'm trying to understand what their job entails, and I'm not just judgmental. I'm not thinking about perfection. Sometimes empathy is also just listening without even saying a word. Because sometimes people just want to talk. They just want to let it out. And many times, because of the kind of persons God created us, we are always solution driven. So the person is trying to say something, then we are thinking about the solutions instead of just listening. Just allow them pour it out, say it all out, and bear all they have to say. Because if someone can talk to you and you are not judgmental and you are not trying to make yourself a solution provider at all times, they feel connected to you. They see you as someone that they should continuously, let it out whenever they have something bothering them. And that is how connections are built. Then also we have communication. You said that the other time. At all levels, communication is key. And communication within the workplace has nothing to do with just the task. But the honest truth is, in the work environment, sometimes the only mode of communication we have has to do with the task. If I really don't have anything that has to do with the job with you, then there's little or no communication. And when there's little or no communication, then we can't talk about building connection, because it is in the place of communication. There are people within this space that knows a whole lot about themselves. They know about, oh, what club do you support? This is what I do. This is church I attend. These are my interests. That is because they've been able to communicate, and it has gone beyond just work. It has gone beyond just what we do around here. Then we also have shared purpose. So shared purpose was, if we are all here, and there's a purpose why we are all here. If we all share the main purpose of being here, in that situation, obviously, when something goes wrong, I'm not thinking of pushing it onto the next man. All I care about is, how do we get it done? I'm trying to fill in for the next man because there's a purpose for our gathering. And we both share that responsibility. I'm not trying to push it over to the next man. I'm not trying to say, oh, it's not me, it's them. I see it as us. And because I see it as us, I'm feeling responsible for everything at every time. I'm trying to fill in for the next man. I'm trying to, work with my team and say, oh, how do we get this done and how do we get it ready? Then lastly, recognition. One of the greatest needs of human, aside from money, clothing, house, everything, is recognition. Everybody wants to be recognized. Everybody wants to be shown that they see them and they acknowledge that they are doing something, even if it's the most minute thing. Even down to the office assistant. He would love to be seen. He would love to be recognized for being a part of the team. We can say, oh, there's nothing he's doing. Every time I look out for him, I don't get to see him. But the time he saves us from going downstairs, doing the back and forth ourselves. Sometimes those guys go 5 and walking through the stairs. We know how it is. When you go once, you are breathing heavily. So, but when they feel recognized, they tend to understand that cohesively in the bigger picture, they are a part of something building. And it's also part of shared purpose, but they feel recognized. They feel seen. They feel heard. So these are daily habits that builds connection. Because connection is not something we wake up to and say, because we had this training, then tomorrow I'm going to build connection. Those are just willpower. It won't last long. It will just, it's a facade. It will happen for a while. Then we'll relapse into who we truly are. But there are habits we have to build. And connection, it does not require grand gestures. It's not about the grand gestures. It is in the little things. These are small intentional acts like your check-ins, appreciation, like I said, and conversation beyond task, which can change a team's culture. Because literally what can change the culture of a team is when we have conversations actually that goes beyond just the day-to-day job. Because that is the true way we'll get to know each other. If all we do is talk about the work alone, in all fairness, we'll literally not even know each other. We won't even know what anyone is going through because everything is just based on the work and the work alone. So, I listed them here: peer-to-peer appreciation board, monthly spotlight. So I know for, the guys that make sales, we do the spotlight thing to, highlight, oh, these are the guys that made sales. What about also, spotlighting people from the least people? It has nothing to even do with, the main guys. From the least guys, the guys that, the office assistants, acknowledging their presence, making it known that we see you, we know what you are doing. And then, we encourage a cross-team chat. So to be very fair, when I joined Adbond, I think that was 2022, it was just a small gathering then. So literally, many times when we talk about the whole birthday thing and people are not showing interest, I smile because we are not tackling the root cause. But the root cause is things will never remain the same. The numbers are growing, and when numbers grow, there would definitely be a cut down. Then we all come here, you see everybody, you have conversation with everybody. In all fairness, there might be people on my team that barely have a communication with someone else in some other team, basically because there are no tasks, that brings them together. And so we are talking about connection. How do they have connection at those levels if they are, there are no cross-team chats? So we also need to encourage them. Now understand that it's work environment. And work environment, it has its own technicalities. So when you see some people talk together, it's like, oh, you guys are leaving your work, you're not doing your work. But we need to find a balance, because that is how we can actually, build a stronger connection within the workplace. For some people on my team, I'm not sure. For someone like Michael, I'm not sure he has even had connection with Mrs. Cole, because they literally don't have anything that brings them together in terms of work. And then leaders set the tone. So connection is built from the top, because to every organization, to every gathering, there are cultures. And these cultures are not built by the people coming in today. The cultures are built by the people that lead. So when the leaders, set the tone, I think it helps. There's a way it helps the team cohesively, to work around that, because it becomes an open model. It becomes a culture. So leaders need to create the culture. They need to model openness, empathy, and care. It gives permission for others to do the same. Connections flows from the top. That's it. You create emotional safety zone. You model vulnerability and openness. Then you foster feedback loops without fear. Because the leaders have to do the bulk of the work is, it's in the palm of the leaders. They have to do it. We have to make the environment as comfortable enough and that is done by vulnerability, so that people can come up and, express how they truly feel about something. And I remember there was a time someone was here and I'm like, oh, so why didn't you say you were? He said, oh, they will not believe me. The last time I said it, they didn't believe me. So it didn't give room to be vulnerable to say I'm healed the next time, because I felt like the first time I said it, I'm not sure they took it like it was real. They thought I was lying. And then on that level, there's really no way to build connection, because when you have something that is way deeper than that, you don't get to say it, because the first perception you have is they won't believe me. They don't believe me. So we have to, but I know it's tricky. It's tricky as leaders. We play a tricky position, but we just need the wisdom to discern rightly, so that we can create an enabling environment for the people, so that connections can be built and healthy connections can flow in the workplace. So, and these are signs of strong emotional connection. People feel safe speaking up, which is what I just talked about. Then there are less turnover. So when we say turnover is, I'm not pushing responsibility. I'm owning it. I'm saying it is mine. So there's ownership. Then, team helps each other even without being asked. That means I can literally perceive this is what is coming ahead and, without being told what next, I'm doing it. And then smiles, not, Slack emoji. Many times when we are chatting and we are sending those emojis to each other, sometimes we are frowning. It's not real. It's lies. It's lies. I've chatted many times and people will say, oh, you are talking to a woman. I said, no. I try to give the same emotion I would have given you if I'm talking to you face to face. I'll give it to you while I'm chatting. So if I smile, I'm very careful, because there are ways I read words. So I'm very careful when I type. I try to make my words, carry the same emotion as my person. So there are also ways I read it. And then, the honest truth is we can all feel it, even in chats. You can tell if someone is genuinely smiling, even when they send you emojis. And you can tell if it's just as usual. So, but these are signs of strong emotional connections, genuine smile, helping each other without being asked. People feel safe to speak up. The moment someone is feeling safe to speak up to you, walk up to you and speak up, tell you how they feel, you can obviously tell that they built a bit of connection with you, because obviously there are other people they could have spoken to, but they chose not to, but they chose to speak to you. And then, my closing thought. Connection doesn't happen by accident. It happens when we choose to show up, care, and contribute to a healthy workplace culture. Small acts repeated often, they create strong teams. So this is the closing thought. Small acts, so like we said, they are not meant to be grand gestures, but small acts, when they are repeated often, will create a strong team. And I think I've come to the end of today's team mental fitness. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions or contribution, please kindly drop them in the comment section below, and we'll be so glad to give response to them. Thank you.